So welcome to a new cursestudio tutorial. This tutorial will be about car rendering, car shading, car texturing inside of Cinema 4D using the Octane render engine. And yeah, I will try to do my best to make a realistic car scene. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy that. I tried to search the internet for a nice car model that comes for free. I couldn't manage to find a nice car model that has really a nice polyflow and is also for free for all of us. So the problem is I probably need to use one of the cars of the Evermotion HD cars collection, so I can't really share this model with you guys. But maybe you have this collection on your own, or maybe you have or maybe you know better sources than me to get cars for free that might have a better polyflow than the cars that I found. But yeah, this tutorial should really be about shading and texturing. If you have a car that you modeled on your own or that you got from someone else, that you might have a plan how to do it inside of Cinema 4D and how to use Octane for that. So yeah, I hope this will be more than useful for you guys. Okay, so let's jump into Cinema 4D. Let's open up the file of the Ferrari Italia and let's see what we can do. Wow, I think I was really drunk yesterday. This tutorial will be a little bit hardcore for me. I was invited to some dinner and I think I forgot to eat, and I think I had some beers instead of that. But anyway, we can do that. We can do that definitely. Okay, so this is the V-Ray version, because the Evermotion cars come with the advanced renderer version, I think a normal version for the standard renderer, and with a V-Ray version. So what we need to do is we probably need to kill all the materials, so we just simply delete them, because we will do all the materials on our own for this car. And let me delete all those unused textures. Is there a faster button maybe, like delete all unused textures? Can't seem to find it. Anyway, let's delete those quickly. Should be quick enough. All those little buttons here. Alright, and we are done. Perfect. Okay, so as you can see, if we have a closer look at the model, and now probably Cinema 4D will be a little bit slow if we turn on garage shading with lines. Oh, no, it's still okay. Okay, that's perfect. I had an issue one time with a car who has a little bigger polyflow, where Cinema was messing up a little bit. If it's messing up in your viewport, simply switch to quick shading, and it will be probably really fast in the viewport. I just want you to show that these Evermotion cars are really absolutely nice and perfectly modeled, so I really love them. Okay, so let's check the poly count. I don't think we need a lot of RAM on the graphic card. Even thought these are 1.4 million polygons, but we will be absolutely fine. Okay, so I think we will have no problem at all here. Okay, since I selected now all those little things here, Cinema 4D is really slow, I don't know why. Okay, so let's jump into the quick shading mode. We don't need the wire mode anyway. Alright, so if you have installed the Octane Live plugin and the standalone, we can just start up simply Octane renderer. I have here a little shortcut right here that I created for the Octane Live renderer, so I don't have to go always here and start my live renderer. Just simply have a button here, so Octane Live renderer. You can do this by window customization, customize comments, then simply type in Octane, and there you have the live renderer, and then just simply select it and drop it right here, and you will get this little button, and that's it. Okay, now I have two buttons. Well, doesn't really matter. Okay, first of all, I want to change the resolution to something bigger. Let's maybe make it 1280 by 720, something like that. Also change from Rear Bridge to Octane renderer. This might also help a little bit. It's not necessary yet, but I think we can do it right now. Scene all scene data, render buffer type will probably be float tone mapped or float buffer. The difference between 8-bit float and tone mapped and float buffer is, well, 8-bit is 8-bit, so you don't have really a lot of room in post-work. Float tone mapped is 32-bit, so we have a little bit more room. The problem is tone map means that the lightning, every lightning that goes above 1 white will be cut at 1, so we won't find any light spots that go above 1 if you render it out with float tone mapped. If you render it out with float buffer, we will get a 32-bit image as well, and this image will also recognize all the spots that go above 1, like 1.3, 1.4, really depends on how much, how bright the light really is in the scene. So this is basically the difference between those three methods. So if you want to have full control, you probably go for a float buffer. I will probably go for tone map. I think this will be enough for this rendering, but let's check this a little bit later. Okay, so what I want to start out is, I think I want to start out with a plane right here. I want to create a little plane. This will be necessary since we will work with an HDRi. We also need a floor. Okay, so I think this will be probably more than good enough. Okay, so let's start up the live renderer for the first time. And normally I would work with the live renderer on my second screen. Since I'm recording this tutorial, this will not really be possible. So this is why I will probably need to move this around a lot for this tutorial. But anyway, like I said, normally I would move this to my second screen I have here, and this makes life a lot easier. But anyway. Okay, voxeling started. Perfect. Let's wait a little bit. Already exporting. And here we go. Here we have our Ferrari. As you can see, there's not really much going on with color here at the moment. But yeah. First of all, I think I want to create... let me rename this quickly to floor. First of all, I want to create an... what do I want to create? I want to create right here an HDRi environment. And we click on this little button right here, jump into the image texture, and there we have file name .hdr. So we will just simply check for an HDR. And I think I downloaded this HDRIs from SMC Cars. And I will post this link in the description on VMO as well, so you can check on SMC Cars, which is probably one of the best car rendering sites around. A lot of really nice car artists post their work there. There are really some awesome renderings you can check out there. And they also have some really nice HDRIs for car rendering, so I downloaded one of those, and I will be also using one of those for my tutorial. So I will use the SMC Industrial 2, I think, for now. We could change this later on anyway, if we don't really like it or not really satisfied with our shot. Okay, so here we have our car. As you can see, it just simply flies around in the scene. We can change this quickly. Let's create... wait a minute, maybe let me just do this. Let me get this here and also this. Maybe... Where can I put this? I think I can put this right here. Yes. Okay, so let's create a shader. You get this Cinema 4D Octane button right here when you have installed the plugin for Octane. So we just simply click on Octane material, so we create a new material. Let's click on Mate, because we want to have the plane as a Mate. And I think this is all we have to do. Then we just simply drop this onto our floor. And the next important thing, so because we dropped a new material, we just simply need to reload the scene. I think we could also change that if we would apply one of the Octane tags, but I'm not too sure about it right now. I didn't try those tags yet. So as you can see, the floor is already gone, but we don't have shadows anywhere. So what we need to do is we need to jump into our HDRi and click on this button right here. This is really important if you want to use this important sampling. So let's click on this button, and as you can see, now we have a shadow on the floor and our car is perfectly aligned. So this looks pretty good so far. Okay, the next thing I want to change, I want to give the HDRi a little bit more power, something like 3 maybe. And I also want to change the rotation here a little bit in the X. So I want to move my car in a little bit of a different direction. Let's see exactly what we want to use. This doesn't have to be final anyway. We can search for different spots later on. I think this looks pretty good. We have some sunlight going on. This would probably look good on the car. But we can only check the reflections when we have the complete materials on our car to see what will really look the best for our shot. So what we want to do is we definitely want to start texturing right here, I would say. Okay, so let's start out with a basic glass material, which is always easy to create, no matter what render engine you're using. We have 3 different material types in Octane. It's diffuse, glossy and specular. Glossy will be all kind of stuff like plastic to metal to whatever. So glossy will be used for almost everything that has some reflection going on. Everything that has to do with glass, diamonds, is etc. We will use the specular layer. And diffuse we will probably use for all kind of cloth stuff, like something like a curtain or something like that. There we will probably use a diffuse layer, or if we just have a matte material, then we only use a diffuse material, because I think the matte channel is only available in the diffuse channel. As you can see here in the glossy, it's gone. Also this little button here, the smooth button, I want to explain a little bit, because I rendered my diamonds or some diamonds some days ago, and if you tick on the smooth button, I think Octane tries to smooth the geometry a little bit, what is pretty good and pretty nice. But if you check this on when you are trying to render diamonds, I think it makes a difference, because a diamond needs to have this perfect cut and doesn't need any smoothing, because if you smooth it, you mess up the diamond, and so you don't get the right reflections anymore, or the right refractions. So if you're rendering diamonds, I would definitely recommend to tick smooth off to get a perfect rendering. Okay, anyway, let's smoke a cigarette. This is always, as you know me, you know I'm smoking like hell. But anyway, here we have the diffuse channel in the glossy. What I want to start out with, I said a glass material, sorry for that. So specular is already on. As you can see, we already have some kind of glass. The index is at 1.3. We want to change this to normal glass, so I will change this to 1.6. This will give us a little bit more a more realistic glass look for our windows. And now we'll just simply click here on the object, and let me select here the windows. Whoops. Okay, Windows select. Let's open up the null. And as you can see, we have now here the windows selected. Let's drop on our material on the windows. Let's reload the scene quickly. Let's see what we get. Voxelizing started. And this should look pretty much forward. Should look pretty good. Yes, so here we have our normal glass, so we already can see some reflections going on. The next thing I want to build is probably the car material. I think this is one of the most important things we need to create. So let's do maybe let me whoops. Okay, this wasn't good. Something like that. Yes. Okay. I simply want to check here, as I said, because I'm doing this tutorial, I need to move around the windows a lot. I just want to see if we have really a perfect glass material. If I can see inside the car. Yes, everything is working out pretty fine, as you can see. Okay, we only have a strong reflection. This is absolutely okay. Okay, and maybe I should also create a camera so I can always jump back in my final shot position or something like that. So here we go. Let me create a camera right here, create camera, and we will also create a protection tag so we don't move the camera around by, yeah, just simply. I don't know the word in English right now. I know this is my fault. My English is sometimes really bad. I know. Okay, so let's create the car material. Let's go to create shader, Cinema 4D Octane mix material. We definitely want to use a mix material. A basic car shader has probably one basic material that is really diffuse, and also has one really glossy material that is above this other layer. And with this mix material inside of Octane, we can simulate this shader pretty well. So let's create, let me just simply rename this to make this all a little bit more clear. A car, I will just simply call this car paint mixer. And this is our normal glass, and this is our floor matte. Alright, okay, so let's create another material. We will first of all create the diffuse material, but this will also have already some paint in it, so we will definitely give it some color. So let's try it with something like this, maybe some color like that, something like that. So let's make it 10% in the S, and let's make it 20% in the V. Okay, and RGB is 51, 45, 45, so you can type in this color as well if you want to, but you can also choose every other color that you like to choose. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is our basic diffuse material. We can put this in our mixer already, so let's do this. Material 1. Alright, and then we create another material, shader, Cinema 4D Octane material, and let's change this to glossy. I wanna make the index really high. I don't think we would need such a high index, but I will go for 8. And now we need to control what we really need to use a lot here in this tutorial is probably the roughness and the specular channel. Roughness is like the glossiness of the material, so if we change this right here, as you can see, if I change this to 1, we almost have lost all the glossiness. If I change this back to 0%, we have full glossiness, so full reflection, and this is almost what we need. So I will change this to something like 0.01 or maybe 0.02, something like that. So we have some kind of roughness, but it's almost full glossy. And we also need to change the specular so this doesn't pick up so much light. We can leave it at black right now, what will be probably not the right way. I just want to show you this quickly. So let's drop in our second material. Let me rename this to car paint basic, and car paint glossy. Alright, and we also need to change this here in diffuse a little bit, so what we had before was what was going on with the color. We can just simply save the color out right here. Let's just click on the color and click on, okay, in German it's called Farbe hinzufügen, it's probably in English something else, something like add color or something like that. We just click on that, and now we have added it right here. And we can just simply use this now here in our car paint glossy material, and we will just simply jump into specular and open this, no, not specular, sorry for that, diffuse, open this up right here and click on the color, and here we go. Okay, so this is now a little bit darker. Okay, so we can also change the mix material here a little bit. So if we click right here on amount, on this little arrow right here, we can change the amount. This almost works like a two-sided material in V-Ray. So if we change this slider right here, we can change between those materials. So if I change this to 1, we only will see the car paint basic. And if I change this to O, you will see we only get the glossy material. So I will change this to something like 0.2 or maybe 0.3. We will check this out a little bit later. Maybe let's start out with 0.5. So we have 50% of the glossy material and 50% of the basic material. And let's drop this on our car paint, as you can see here, car paint. Let's drop the mixer material on there. And let's make a little, let's restart the render engine and let's see what we get. By the way, I only need to restart this if I add a new material. If I start then to adjust the material, I don't have to reload anything. So I can just simply, as soon as the material is on the car, I can change as much as I want. And as you can see, this is really too glossy. I mean, this definitely has something, but this is definitely not what we want. So we definitely need to change the specular, as I said, because it picks up way too much light. So let's go into our car paint glossy material, go to specular, and we will change the specular here a little bit to something like that. And as you can see, this already starts to look a little bit, or looks like a car material. And I think we can even let it pick up a little bit more. Yeah, something like that maybe. And we can also change in the mixer material, maybe change this down to 0.2, so it picks more up from the glossy material than from the diffuse material. And I think I already like this. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the roughness is a little bit too much. Let's jump into the glossy. Roughness, maybe just 0.01. Really almost nothing. Maybe this makes for me a difference, I don't know. I'm really like, I think I said this before, I'm really like the monk of this weird series that is playing on the TV. Maybe this 1 point makes a difference for me. For you, maybe not, but I think for me it makes a little bit of a difference. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. This is a pretty basic material. If you don't like the color, I mean, this isn't really a typical Ferrari color. So yeah, but I think I like the color, so I think I will go for it. The next thing that we should do is definitely search maybe for a reference image on the internet for the Ferrari Italia. I will search for this quickly. So we just simply type in Ferrari Italia and then just simply go in Google to pictures, and let's look for a nice shot. Maybe something like this. This looks pretty good because this also has an absolutely high resolution. This can help a lot. And I will also start to texture the back first of all. And this picks up a lot of light from different angles, so this is also good, so we can see how the materials react with the light, which is pretty good, because this is what we actually want. We want to figure out how the other materials pick up the light, so we can make our shaders a little bit better. So what I want to texture first is definitely, I think, the back of the car. So I will start with this more kind of, it looks a little bit like plastic, but I think it's more like a mix, something like a metal plastic material. When I think about a material, I always think about when I would touch it, how it would feel. Would it more feel like a plastic or a metal material? And then I try to adjust my shader to, I don't know, to get the feeling for this material. So till it really fits and till the material looks like something I really would touch in the real world. So it really should look realistic. So in this case, I will just simply switch this to my other screen for now. So we will try to do this part right here in the car. So let's create a new material. And I think we will really make this black, like in this shot we've just seen. So let's change to glossy. And let's change this to almost black, not completely black, because nothing in the real world is completely black or completely white. Because the eye couldn't see something like that anyway. Okay, so In the specular, I think first of all we definitely need to change the index to something higher, maybe something like good question, something like metal, but not too high, maybe something like 4. Let me go for shaded something like 4, and we definitely need roughness here, so we'll change this to something like, I don't know, let's try it with 0.25, and we'll also adjust the specular a little bit. Let's turn down the specularity a little bit. Something like that, maybe something like that. I can't really tell yet. I think I really need to put this on the car and see what we get. So let me click on this while the object mode is selected. So we'll jump directly to the black plastic no MS. This is how Evermotion call it. And let's reload this quickly, so I have time to fire up my cigarette. And I think this will, oh well, let's see how this looks. Alright, now we really need to move in there a little bit. We really need to get close to this material, and I hope it picks up enough light right there so we can really see what's going on this material. And as you can see, this is a little bit, I'm not sure if I like it yet. I'm not sure about that. Maybe let's change the IR to something higher, maybe something like, let's try 5. Let's try 5, one higher. Okay, this looks good. I think it still picks up too much light, so this is why it looks a little bit more like, it isn't like, it isn't too black. I really want to have it a little bit darker, and maybe also adjust the roughness to a lower value, something like 0.2. Okay, now my cell phone runs out of power. This is also nice. Okay, 0.2. Okay, let's try it with 0.1. Let's see what it picks it up and how much light it picks up. 0.1 would be really glossy, and I think this is too glossy for this material. Let's change this to something like 0.2. I think 0.2 is probably good. Maybe 0.15, something like that. And specular, maybe a little bit brighter. Okay, then it starts to get grayish again. And this is really too dark, so it almost picks up no light. Maybe something like that. 41, 41, 41 in the RG and B. Yes, I think this will be good enough. This will be definitely good enough. I think this doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit brighter. 44, 44, 44. Yes, I think I'm happy now. Okay, so let's zoom out of here, and we can change this later on anyway if we're not satisfied. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a material, I think, for, what is this called? Probably, okay, here it's just called chrome. Chrome is the material that we will create just in a minute. What is this called in English down here? I can't really seem to know the word right now. But anyway, you know what I mean, probably. So we just simply try to create a chrome material, so an almost full reflective material. So let's change this to glossy, index 8. So everything on its highest value. Roughness will be O, so nothing. And the specular will be yeah, doesn't really matter here. Okay, so let's call this chrome. And let's call this black material, we just created something like black plastic for now. Okay, so let's drop our chrome shader on there and let's reload the scene quickly. And as soon as we have applied all the materials that we need, we don't have to... I'm not sure, there is an Octane tag. If you do a right click, Cinema 4D Octane tags, there is an object tag. And this object tag you can put on different meshes, and then you just simply... I will show this quickly. Then you can just simply, I think it has to be a higher value than 0%, as O, so you just simply click on 1 and it updates the mesh, I think, all the time. I'm not sure how this works out with materials, if you put on a new material, if this helps also. I'm not sure about that, so we'll just simply leave it. But there is an option that the mesh updates. This will be really helpful for animations. But yeah, so it doesn't really matter. The voxeling is so fast, so it doesn't really matter if it updates instantly. So let's have a look at this one. I think this looks pretty okay. All right. And as you can see, we still have here something. The plane still gets reflected. It isn't really seen in the scene, I think, but we still see the plane on the reflection right here. I think also on the car. And we will change this later, I think. As you can see here in the reflection, we still can see the plane. What can we do about that? Let's maybe change the opacity to 0. But there we will also lose our floor material. Maybe. Okay, transmission will not really help. Let's maybe just simply change the color to black. Maybe this will help. And yes, now we have a... Well, we could just simply change the color to the ground color that we have going on here in the scene. So something like a grayish color. So we won't see really much of a difference in the reflection. This is one workaround for me right now. I'm not sure how to really get rid of the plane of the reflection. Normally I would just go with a Cinema 4D tag, compositing, and tell this little mesh here to go away. So I just simply would click on scene by race, scene by GI, scene by reflection, and scene by refraction. Would just simply turn this off and see if this would really make any of a difference. I'm not sure if this tag really works inside of Octane. I'm not really too sure about that. But what I did now is almost the same. So the plane is just simply now has the same color as the floor, so we don't get really any issues here in the reflection. The reflection isn't to 100% correct because it's just a plane with a simple color, but it doesn't really matter. So I think we will be fine. So let's check. Let's check the reflection again. And I think this will look now more. This will now look a little bit better. Yes, it does. Okay. The next thing I wanna texture is probably this part down here. Let me jump into the camera, which I just created before. All right, and so we just simply check our reference image because we have a nice backshot here, and let's make this a little bit smaller and let's see what this material looks like. This also looks like something like plastic. I think this material right here is something like gray plastic, and this down here is something like black plastic. But this could also be because of the light that this seems to be a little bit more black. But I think it's really more black. I think with the EverMotion model, they just simply made one part of this complete thing. So if I click on this right here in the object mode and car paint dark, and let me go to poly mode, you can see this is all one part, so we don't really have the chance here to make this down here a little bit more darker and this a little bit more grayish. Also, we could select all the polygons, right here, and then just simply make a selection tag. Octane understands selection tags, so this wouldn't be really much of an issue, but it's just too much work for now, I think. And so you can do this on your own, just simply select all the polygons and go to select, set selection, make a selection tag for this part down here, and give the one, give this this thing over here just simply a grayish color, and give and use the same material just with a little bit of a blacker color for down here. Okay, so let me create a new material, shader, Octane material. We will call this gray plastic, but I think I will make it a little bit darker than grayish. I think this will also fit a little bit better with our car. We can really be a little bit creative, so we really can choose our own colors. If we like something a little bit more, we can just simply do it. So let's go to glossy, change this to something like that. Index, I would say something like 2 for plastic right now, maybe something like 3. We will see this quickly anyway. Let's change the specular to something like that, a little bit higher. It should really pick up a little bit more light. Roughness, something like 0.2. Yes, I think this looks good. And let's drop this onto the car paint dark, and let's reload our scene. And let's see what we get. This will probably look pretty okay, at least I hope so. Okay. Here we go. Okay, yeah, this already looks pretty good, I think. Let's look at our reference image once again. As we can see here. Maybe it's even more glossy than that, I think. Is it really more glossy than that? Is it? I think might be more glossy than that. Yes, I think we can go down with the roughness a little bit more. So let's just simply change this down to 0.15. So it has a little bit more glossiness. And 0.13, I think, something like that. I think this should be the right direction for this. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect. It's easy as that. I don't know. It's really easy as that. It's a really harder. You just simply compare material and try to achieve the same look. I'm not sure if it's really 100% the same, but I think it comes pretty close. The color is just a little bit darker that we used, but like I said, you can also be a little bit creative, so you don't really. But if you want to recreate this car really like it looks here on the picture, just simply recreate it. Take a red color and make this grayish and make this black, and try to just simply adjust all the colors. But I don't really want to do this here right now. Okay, so I will also try to texture this, because I think this isn't textured right now. Right here, let me jump to the move tool. What is this right here? Black plastic. Okay, I think I will just drop our black plastic right there. And I don't have to reload right now because I already know what it looks like. So the next thing I want to texture is definitely the lights, the backlights. The problem here is with the Evermotion model, I think that we don't have a selection tag for the red glass. So if we would drop here a red material, a red glass material, this will be all red, and as you can see, we also have here some white glass. So what we need to do is we really need to do a selection tag here. So let's jump to select, loop selection, and let's zoom in here. And I think we will start right here. Yes, to select this one, and this one. And we also need to select the inside of the glass, because as you already know, if you saw one of my tutorials where I worked with glass, glass always needs an outside and an inside. So the light knows where to get into the glass and where to get out of the glass. So we need some kind of thickness for this glass, otherwise it won't work. Okay, for this I will just simply take the live selection and make the live selection a little bit bigger. Something like this, 13 will be good enough. And let me select this quickly. Alright. Let's, whoops. Maybe let's close the live rain arrow for now. We don't really need it right now. Let's make a selection tag, already select set selection, and let's also start with this right here. So we'll start here again and select all those polygons. This is really a little bit bad that they don't have really made a selection. I think they have a map for that. But I really want to make it over a selection tag and not with an alpha map or something like that. So this is why I'm doing this here right now. I think there is an alpha map included where that you can use. So you can use a white glass material and a red glass material on this spot right here. But like I said, I want to make this right here with a selection tag. So let me jump into the light. And okay, I can't really. Okay, first of all, let me deselect all the polygons. Let me click somewhere in the scene. Chuck. Let me jump into the object mode. Let me jump into the light. Alright. And then we just simply click on that. Chrome, no MS, so we'll just simply disable this for now. Now we go back to our glass. And now we can start to select the inside. I think I started here on the outside. So let's just simply select this quickly. Nope. Yes. Okay. This is a little bit time consuming, but not really a wild thing. This is really just, this is almost nothing. So we can really do this quickly here. Okay. Let me select all polygons. Before I do anything else, select polygons, select set selection. So we really have all the polygons saved. And now we'll just do the last light. And then we're good to go. You can also skip this part if you want to. I'm not even sure why I'm recording this completely right here, but since I started with it, I will just simply complete this now. Okay. Select loop selection. And we will start right here. I think this is the right polygon to start, or the right polygons. And select all those. Okay, and this one, live selection, and change those. Or select those, we select those. Okay, select all polygons and select set selection. Okay, now we should be good to go. All right, so we wanna create a red glass, and we will also use our white glass. So we already have our normal glass, so we'll probably use this one. Then shader cinema for the Octane material, new one. Go to specular, change the index to 1.6, and let me use the transmission right here, and let me change this to red because we want to have a red color. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's drop our red glass on the correct mesh. Let me also rename this glass red, And then we also use our normal glass, put this right behind the red one and simply drop in our selection tag. We could also rename the selection tag to white glass backlight. Alright. Okay, this is selected, and let's turn on the live render. And let's see what we get. And let me also switch into the camera. And I think there is something I turned off before, and this is the inside of where all the lights are going on, and we need to put there a chrome material as well, so we'll get the right reflections inside of our backlights. Okay, I think I didn't really hit the update button or something. Okay, voxelizing start, perfect. And let's see what we get. Here we go. Okay, this is way too dark. What did I do wrong? Oh, I think maybe, which mode do I have enabled? Octane renderer, no, here, right on this button, we can jump to the settings, and I have direct lighting right now at the moment. Let's change this to path tracing, and let's click on keep environment. Yes, thanks. And my white glass material is also overwritten. Why would that be? Why? Okay. I will figure this out quickly and let you know when I found the failure. So I think I found the problem. I think we also need to make a second selection tag for the red glass, and also the one selection tag we already made, but we renamed it, so we still have here polygon selection. I think this also makes maybe a difference. So let's drop in the selection tag once again into the white glass. Now let's select the selection tag, go to select polygons. Let me jump out of the camera quickly. Let's go to select invert. Let's deselect here the selection tag by clicking anywhere. Let's select the glass red again. Select set selection. And just simply call this glass red. And we will select the red glass and just simply drop this in here, the selection tag. And now let's see what the live view does. Let's make an update. And I think now it should work pretty good. Yes, and now we have our white glass and our red glass. Okay, so we just simply need to make two selection tags, which doesn't really make much of a difference when we have the first selection. Okay, so now we need to put the chrome material on the inside of the lights. So this should be this right here. Let's just put the chrome material on there that we already have. And let's reload the scene. And before I do that, I will just simply save this part of the tutorial right now, because my computer is slowing down a little bit. So I will save this as a first part, and in the second part I will just simply hit on update, and we will see what we get.